I think.
Donnie was awesome, though.
Oh, Donnie, did Donnie say anything?
Donnie, you got half of it today.
I know. I've talked with Don lots.
Alright, phones, silent.
Oh shit.
Oh, jeez.
Oh yeah.
You guys ever see the greatest picture ever taken in the history of the NRHA?
I got one. Did Chelsea take yours?
Picture.
Well, hang on. Go like that.
Access it. Is that wisdom tag checks?
Hell no.
No.
That's Buddy.
Is that from this last year?
Yeah, but I don't know his real name because I just know them all as Buddy.
Is that your buddy?
Yeah. I've rode out in the pen a lot of times and going, oh, is that my horse's name? I'm sure you all have.
Never.
Always. I
never-
know. I don't know any of their
I
names.
know.
As a matter of fact, Tom's rode out in the pen a few times and go, "Oh, that's what pattern I'm running."
Oh, yeah. No, that's not new. I write it right here.
I've walked out in the pen a few times and been on the wrong horse too.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never done that.
I mean, at home.
Yeah.
Oh, at home.
He did it at home.
I once followed Bob Loomis to the track. He's leaving the barn, and he's going to the track. And I can't figure what he's doing. He's got a bridle on a horse and nothing else. And we're walking out the track, and I'm behind him. And finally, we get it's quite a ways. And I said to him, Bob, where are you going? Looks at me, turns around and looks past the horse to me and goes, I'm going to ride. Like, I'm the stupid one. And I said, well, don't you need a saddle? He goes, oh. Turn around, goes back.
We don't say goddamn it.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
It's religion.
Yeah.
God.
Can't say that.
Are you recording already?
Edit.
Yeah, we don't
Edit,
talk
splice
about
that
I
out.
have a beep.
Well,
Yeah, we'll have to.
we don't
it's now taco clock somewhere, so blame that.
we don't advertise either.
I'm gonna get
Wait a
sued.
minute.
Fuzzies is gonna sue me.
Yeah, for product placement, definitely.
Look at easy Shrek.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that was
If you need if we get halfway through and you need another water, Joe, just let us know.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I think that's
If
about
you get
it.
dehydrated
Yeah,
at some
no,
point.
I think I'm good. All right, let's roll this.
We ready?
Let's do it.
Okay. All right, we're back for another edition of the show.
Episode 65.
Yeah, somewhere in there. Yeah. No, what episode are we?
Like 40 something.
ish.
40. Ooh, the big
40.
4-0.
Big
dude.
4-0.
You know
What?
who's turning 40 soon?
what?
You?
This show's been on 39
You're
times
not 40.
before.
I'm going to be 40 March 21st.
Seriously?
Well, who would have seen
Wow.
that coming?
I
Yeah,
thought you were
wow.
older than that.
Yeah, everybody did. It's my
Thanks
gray,
for
it's my
waiting.
gray patch.
Well,
Thanks for waiting so long to invite me.
Yeah.
as always, we have a soon-to-be 40-year-old Gunny Matheson
Yeah, congratulations.
For
man.
the show.
and Joe Schmidt, and our guest tonight, Lance Griffin. Lance, it's good to have you here.
Thanks, Tom.
I hope you're enjoying our weather. If it make you feel at home.
It is colder than a mother-in-law's kiss the whole week.
Yeah,
Or kiss, huh?
That's cold, huh?
That's cold.
sounds like it might be like it. I'm not gonna make any comments.
No.
Yeah, we should just move
My-
on.
Yeah, okay.
Mine's in heaven. You shouldn't say
We're done
anything.
with mother-in-laws.
Yeah.
Talking about mother-in-laws.
Yeah. So what are you doing down here, Lance?
I'm riding two horses with Francesco Martinotti, something like
Yep.
that.
Martinotti.
And you're here getting ready to go to Tulsa.
Getting ready to go to Tulsa, and then we're going to Arizona, and then we're going to Houston, and then I'm going to retire, I think.
You already did that once.
Oh, a couple times.
Yeah.
Doesn't stick.
Yeah.
I retired from hockey, trucking, horses.
So how'd you get into the horses? I remember way back when.
Oh, God.
Didn't you start with before you got into the reiners? Did you have barrel horses?
They never went real fast with me on them. No. You can't tell by looking on the outside, but I'm pretty stout.
No,
you
I
can tell.
no.
Leave it to Joe. Leave it to Joe
Yeah.
to make a
That's right.
dickheaded
Can we
comment.
just count these
right.
insults?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's a clicker.
There's a quota. that I
Yeah,
gotta
there's a
hit.
clicker that we have to. Yeah, we got to meet the quota.
Well,
Yeah.
We'll keep-
Then
no.
I get my bonus.
Are you asking how we got into horses?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. What was your
Yeah.
first?
Oh God! Well, we never not had them. My grandfather was a horse dentist, and that's my dad's dad. And my dad was a bronc rider and
Now, this
a
was
wagon
all
driver.
on Calgary.
all in Western Canada, yeah, and mostly Calgary. And we lived when I was a kid, just outside of Calgary we lived there till our house got condemned and we had to move into town, but we still kept the farm. And so there was always, we never not had horses. We were like the local boarding place, the crappy place just outside of town, where if you had a horse and you lived in the city, you'd keep it there. Or if you had a horse that you couldn't get to do something, my dad was pretty good with them, and they'd bring them there, and we'd try and get killed every once a week or so doing some dumb stuff, and never had a registered horse really till I was probably 20 years old. They were all just great horses of some kind, and a lot of harness horses, and a lot of pigs and chickens and whatever else we had. But yeah, so we always had horses, and we were always, breaking something or starting something from our dad or fixing something. So and then when I got married, when I went driving a truck after I got married, I still had some horses out at the farm, but I never rode for probably any amount for 10 years. And then we had some kids, and then they wanted to ride, and mostly Samantha wanted to ride. And as things got going in the trucking business, we started actually, cattle penning was her first love. So I was spending Saturdays and Sundays loading her up and taking her to cattle pennings when she was 6, 7, 8 years old, I guess. And I realized that, if I'm going to go and stand there all day watching her cattle pen, we all ended up going cattle penning, and that was fun. And it was actually great. We still have some really great friends from the cattle penning days. They're good people. And but then we discovered, or rather Samantha discovered, reining, and some of the people around our neighborhood. Then I discovered that, and then I met Wayne Latimer. And in this,
Dwayne's dead.
Dwayne's not dead.
Dad.
Oh, Dad.
Yeah.
Dwayne appears to be dead, but he's not.
Dwayne's father.
If you talk to Dwayne, you'll think he's kind of dead. But no, I met Dwayne's dad, and then
And Dean's dad.
and Dean's dad.
We did talk to Dwayne once.
Yeah.
Sorry.
How'd that go?
I interrupt
It
people.
was good.
You got to interrupt him because otherwise we're going to be done with this show in about 3 minutes.
Yeah, and there's
He's
no
pretty much-
story here.
He's pretty much already there.
And so, anyways, we had horses, and we did that, and we finally met Wayne Latimer, who proceeded to inform me that I didn't know anything about horses because I didn't learn from him.
Back
He is a
up.
Latimer.
Well, back up just to her. How did Samantha decide she wanted to try reining? Like, did she see it at the Calgary Stampede, which is a
No.
fantastic place to go?
They weren't doing it at the Calgary Stampede. In
Where
those
did
days.
they do it? Like, where was
No,
she?
I mean local shows, but our neighbor up the road, was a extremely talented cattle penner, a fellow by the name of C. Spapke, who was famous around the area, great horseman, but not a reiner. But they did eventually have some reining horses with the Supergas, and that's how we got to meet Wayne, and Wayne and I got along great, and then ended up inviting me down to his ranch at Fort McLeod, which I didn't realize was near the end of the earth there, and way back against the mountains. And we went and rode some horses there, and bought one, and bought Samantha one,
and you started doing reining.
and we started doing. Bought a little double. Checks are double from who did we? Little Gelding, and bought it at the first futurity that we ever came to. And Wayne picked out, and Dwayne rode him for me and didn't want to. He was quite sour. He had to ride a horse and demo this horse because his dad asked him to.
Imagine
So that's how we met. Dwayne grumpy over riding his horse, but we got
hard
through
to
that.
believe, but
Yeah,
you talked me into it.
and then one thing goes on, and then I don't know. I decided that we should try this, and I bought a horse from Dean Latimer and rode with Dean for 1 year, and I just liked it. It's like golf. It's so hard to be good at it.
Yeah, very hard.
It's and you never quit learning, and I've always been that way. So it's ridiculously hard, and it's all practice, which is kind of stupid.
Yeah, it is. I think that's one thing I've heard. It's very similar to golf in the fact that You know, you run down and that one stop that the timing's perfect and they slide 20 feet and everything's just right. It's like that one drive you hit out there, you know,
And nobody's watching
300 yards.
because you're practicing.
You saw me hit that one 300
Dude,
yards.
I did see Tom. We played golf and we were at the Tour 18
Take
golf
off
course.
my vest. It's getting deep in
It's
here.
getting deep. Listen, this is worth taking the vest off, Lance. It's the Tour 18 hole. It's the par 5 at the.
Oh my God, I broke it.
I don't think you were.
Oh, there was a thing to it.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know
Out
that.
of your pocket. You're good.
But is
Yeah,
it?
but where's the mic?
It's hooked to himself.
I don't think so.
No,
No.
I got a clip.
Oh yeah. You know
That's
what?
Oh, God.
We get to see
Here
our
we go.
favorite part
Oh, yeah,
on
baby.
camera.
Hang on, let me get
This
that.
is the favorite part of the
Open
show.
for you.
Chelsea,
Oh.
Chelsea,
Oh,
Chelsea gets to touch us.
hope you're going to edit this part or not.
Chelsea, I really miss
like
the
it on
days
record.
whenever you touched me, but the fact that you're just touching the guests now makes them want to come even more. So put your name in the hat, guests.
We need to say that different next
I was
time.
gonna say you might want to choose
Yeah,
some different
right.
words here.
No,
I'll have to-
participate.
I'll have to see about your
Participate. Yeah.
pants.
Now she's in my pants.
There's nothing wrong with that. It feels great, doesn't it?
These young women these days.
Yeah. We're sorry, Carrie. We're sorry.
Sorry,
that
sorry, Steph.
Stefano's, he's not the jealous type. He's okay.
All right, now go back to your story about how far I hit that.
Yeah,
drive.
yeah.
Yeah, so
The great shot.
So listen, it is the hole at the Masters, the dogleg left par 5. I think
13?
it's 13.
Hey, and try not to chew ice. It screws up the microphone.
Yeah, we don't.
So don't do that.
Gulp.
Yeah, just swallow.
Now, keep in mind, I already smoked a drive 315 down there. You know, we're in perfect spots. So-
What?
Oh yeah, Tom Happy Gilmore's one, and it is very comparable to mine. I mean, he didn't quite get me, but he smoked it, and that might not have been the drive, but it feels like it was.
It was the drive of the day for
It
me.
was the drive of the day.
Yeah, I
I've
crushed it.
I've seen Gunny golf, and I believe him. But I've also seen Tom golf, and I don't believe that.
Yeah, but he's golfing now.
Yeah, I'm golfing a little bit now. You know what? I really, Cade started golfing about a year and change ago.
Yeah,
year
and
and
he's been golfing every week since then.
yeah. Join the country club. I'm full into golf and going back to
Dude.
golf.
He draws lines on his balls so he can line up the putts too.
Who does?
You do.
No, I don't. I don't line up shit. I just hit it towards the hole.
I do. I
for
do.
the
that,
best.
Yeah.
I've seen him putt from 100 yards.
Yeah, but he's a good putter.
Yeah. Well, and only if the conditions are right.
It's
Okay.
called the Texas wedge. We got a lot of wind
Yeah.
here.
Yeah,
But
it's-
I can tell you, going back, the thing about golf and comparing it,
Yeah.
the thing that's so frustrating is I have played every sport. I played ping pong, tennis, pool. I mean, you name the sport, hockey. I can get pretty good at anything. Golf, I cannot. I can absolutely not. I was better 6 months ago.
I don't think pool's a sport to start with, but whatever.
Absolutely, it's a sport.
Yeah,
You can
'cause
get
it's on
winded.
It's on
TV.
ESPN.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
I know.
Like
If
like,
it's on
there's-
ESPN, it's
like-
a sport.
Yeah, and I
Okay.
think like
I was
that's
wrong.
an acronym for
Cornhole's on
Entertainment
ESPN,
Sports
that's a sport.
Network.
I've played pool
What is
before where I've
Cornhole where you throw the beanbag
Yeah.
into the hole.
Yeah, that's
and
a
they
sport.
call it cornhole?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
on. It's
Also on
ESPN.
ESPN.
That's not what they call cornhole in Canada, is it?
Nope.
Whole different
they call it?
vibe up in Canada.
Not going there.
They call it curling.
They call it foreplay. Do not insult curling.
Curling.
Lord, thunder, and
Now
Jesus.
that's a sport.
Dude, the Olympics just were over, and
Yeah.
I wanted to play some curling.
Yeah, it's a great game.
And we had enough ice today to
Have
do
you
it.
ever curled?
Oh, grew up? Yeah, absolutely.
No.
Seriously?
Played in the Alberta Super League.
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah.
Did you run the
I
thing
cannot-
or did you do the?
I've skipped.
had
I
to
played
sweep.
first. I've swept. I've skipped.
There's
I've done
no
all
way
of
you
it.
can bend over that far. You see those guys in the Olympics?
Well,
they're
I
all
was
squatted.
younger.
Huh?
I believe it or not, I was
No
younger
way
at
you
some
could
point in my
bend over
life.
that far. Have you ever said that to a man before?
Oh,
Well,
I apologize.
So far, this is the worst show. This is the
No,
worst
this
10-minute
is
start
great.
to any show that
So
we've ever
skip.
had.
That's when you're throwing the
Skip's
thing.
last stones. You're running. You're the one that stands behind the house and calls for the first 6 rocks, and you got to go throw your last 2 rocks.
Now, what makes that
He's the
more of a
boss.
sport than pool?
There's balance.
You have to wear a certain
aim.
kind of footwear.
Yep. Now, do they wear tights in curling?
That's fair.
No,
No, it's whatever. It's the
maybe
you
the
gotta
ladies
have the proper.
maybe the
shoes.
ladies do, but we don't call that a sport because it starts with ladies.
So
No, that's a once every 4 years. I'm a
You know
fan.
what? It's a great game. It's a great game to watch. And if you say to my daughter Samantha, "What do you like watching?" She says curling.
Really?
She watched it with her grandmother, who was we can't say that was crazy for curling.
Yeah.
Would scream at the TV.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
What do they yell? Like when you got to sweep it more? What do
hard,
they- Hard. Oh yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
It's kind of like some movies you see on them channels, but
this is going great.
Sal.
Sorry.
So back to golf.
Wayne
So, yeah,
Latimer. No, Wayne
No.
Latimer.
Yeah, you
guys
guys
seen that one?
No, but one more thing
between
while we're
golf
on the
and
Olympics.
rain.
My favorite thing watching the Olympics. Did you watch the 4-man downhill on the snowboards? With
yeah,
the
that's all,
race?
it didn't exist. So I was,
That is-
and when they had them in Calgary, we got involved there, and they didn't have that sport then. That looked like awesome.
That is so
That's like
much fun to watch.
NASCAR on a
Yeah.
snowboard.
That I could watch all day.
Yeah, it was fun.
And then
What
that-
about the tandem luge?
Yeah, the tandem luge. That's
The picture you sent me.
You're talking about the skeleton.
Yeah, the tandem
Yeah.
skeleton.
so.
Yeah.
We're gonna send a picture. Everybody's gonna get to see this picture, and I can't find it right now.
I got it.
But everybody's gonna get to
bad
see this
looking.
picture because Chelsea will put it up in front about the tandem luge, and then about how that relates to Joe and Gunny.
Yeah.
I have a very similar picture.
God.
Joe,
God.
was I helping Joe golf that day or you?
Yeah, no, you're helping me. The
Yeah.
2 times
Oh.
I've
Hold on. He was
Golf.
touching you, I saw? Is that the
Wow.
one?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, that
But
had,
it was
that
he
had
was
to be great.
purely instructional.
He was uncomfortable.
Nobody
yeah.
was enjoying it, right, guys?
I really enjoy helping people.
Yeah,
I really enjoy helping people.
I learned a lot.
Did he do it? Did he do it
I
right?
still golf to this day.
Yeah.
Was there
Yeah,
lube
so-
involved with that?
So anyway, back to the Olympics in
Of course.
Calgary. You said
As soon
you-
as we pick on Joe, it's back to
Yeah,
the
that's
topic.
right. Let's
He
get back to
changes
the
the
story.
subject right away.
Back to the Olympics. What about Wayne Latimer? We're talking about horse
no,
here.
because the other
Nobody
day-
gives a shit about Olympics.
No, the story the other
I
day
do.
was you volunteered at the Olympics when the Jamaican
Yes,
bobsled
yeah.
team. So
Oh, yeah.
Tell us that story.
We were.
'cause that
I was
pretty
at. I was at the bottom of the hill. Both me and my wife.
What year?
1988 in Calgary, when the Jamaican bobsled.
1988 was in Los Angeles.
good. No.
Yeah, that's great for the summer games.
Summer
Oh.
games.
Yeah,
dude.
they don't.
Oops.
Okay, you good now?
They wouldn't have Winter Olympics.
There was no Jamaican bobsled at the summer games in Los Angeles.
Okie silly dokey. I'm an idiot,
and
eh?
I believe it was 86 or 84 or whatever, because 90 maybe.
I think it was
Because
doesn't matter.
they used to have them every 2 years, and then
86. Yeah.
Anyway,
so
Okay.
we were at the bottom of the hill when the Jamaican bobsled tipped over, and the guy was coming down the track for like a minute with his head sticking out, and they got to pass a lot of stuff. And it's like, that guy's going to get decapitated, but I think he was stuck there. But it didn't happen. Nobody
think
got
that-
hurt.
I think that's happened before, though, too.
I don't know.
People have gotten decapitated.
But you also got to see.
Eddie the Eagle.
Yeah.
He came flying. He did when he did a small, because they do 2 different levels of jumps, and when he did the small one, it wasn't that scary. But when he did the big one, and that's a long ways and time to be in the air, and they got to balance themselves. But he was more like a rifle bullet. Like he didn't really get up in the air, and he was like literally like whoa, and the whole crowd was, but he landed it. It was amazing because it all came together at the very end.
It's a great movie about it.
And it didn't go very far compared to the other good guys, but because you didn't need to qualify in those days. That's
Yeah, and he
it
was. What country was he?
England. Like
Yeah.
how much ski jumping do they do in England?
Yeah, no, not much.
And so those were the games that they changed the rules. You had to be
Yeah.
world ranked in some way. I don't know
Yeah.
exactly.
So now, how'd you get hooked up with the Olympics that year?
Well, everybody could. You could volunteer. They were begging for volunteers. That was not hard to do. They had used. I think there was 15,000 volunteers. You go to Parka.
Wow.
Ever go to Parka? It
So,
was a great experience.
so you
And I recommend it to everybody all the time.
so you curled.
Yeah, was a curler. Baseball.
You played hockey.
Play hockey. Softball. Fastball, which is not softball, but
Yeah, I've seen
yeah.
that. I've
Football.
Seen,
Played 5 years of football.
a lot of girls play the softball, the fastball.
Fastball. It's a college girl thing, but in Canada, it's a pretty big deal.
We played a lot of like beer softball.
No, this
There's
was
a bar
more
league.
than beer fastball, but I also played lots of beer fastball and slow pitch and whatever baseball, I guess, and football. 5 years of football in all through high school and
Now, is
1 year after.
football? Excuse me.
Yes,
is-
it's Canadian League.
You went
Is
to high
football-
school. Wait a minute. You went to high school for 5 years.
I went to high school for 2 3/4. No, I didn't go to high school for 5 years. My brother did. He was the smart one. But no, we played for a year before, like in junior high, and then a year afterwards in what was called the Senior Men's League.
Is
It was
football in Canada, or is it
Yes, sir.
soccer?
No, it's not soccer.
Okay, well, y'all are on the metric system and all that
Yes,
stuff.
we're
so
on
I
the
didn't
metric
know.
system. God, it's hard.
I didn't know. I just
I know,
thought
Gunny.
one went with the other.
Yep. Well, fair enough.
Metric system.
So.
And you played hockey too.
And about hockey and all, we played every sport. And then horses were things that we had to do because we'd had to do it at home. But everything else we played, we'd play street hockey, out till 10 o'clock at night because we did not have any TVs when I was growing up. We didn't get a TV till I was 16 years old. But then it was a color one.
Yeah.
Never had a black and white one.
Yeah. Well, those were the good old days when all the kids were actually out
Didn't seem.
learning skills. That's how I learned how to play pool so good.
Yeah, I didn't think of it that way at the time, but so that's
I didn't watch, not to go backwards, but I didn't watch the Winter Olympics this year because I'm in support of. I didn't want to support China
what were they? The
and the
Uyghurs?
Uyghurs. The Uyghurs. Okay, you guys need to Google the Uyghurs in China. They're being
And their
sent to
plight.
concentration camps. Yeah, it's a bad deal. China people are bad.
And I want to be clear that Gunny has no idea, and neither do any of the rest of us, what he's talking about.
This
So I looked it
YouTube.
up. I looked it
Yeah,
up.
I do know what I'm talking about because I
Yeah,
learned from it on the Joe Rogan Experience.
Yeah.
And you can learn all your valuable information from there.
okay.
All right.
Now some things make sense.
I have been drinking tonight though
And-
too, so
So moving on.
Yeah,
Wayne
So
Latimer.
you went from Wayne to Dean,
Dean
to Dwayne.
to Dwayne. That's correct.
Okay. So let's pick up from there.
Who do you want to know about?
I want to know how great your experience was with Dwayne Latimer.
With Dwayne, first of all, I enjoyed riding with Dean. Dean was great to ride with. I just didn't know how to ride. Like when we were doing all my stuff, we didn't care what lead the horse was on. That was the only thing that was really hard for me. It took me a whole year to learn how to change leads properly because I could. I bought a horse, a Hollywood
Now, wait
Dun
a
horse.
minute. I saw you at the last horse show.
So
you're thinking you got it
comes
now,
and
or-
goes. It comes and goes.
Yeah,
Just, hey,
lead, dude.
yeah, half a point.
Did you drag a lead?
The horse did. I didn't do nothing. So, thanks, Tom. I wrote Bob Loomis's track in those days was about 1,000 feet long and wasn't big enough for me to change leads on. We left the track several times, but I finally learned, and I even went over and tried to learn from Dwayne. Dwayne taught me how to ambush the horse for the futurities, which I didn't make the finals anyways. That was my first futurity year, but I got lead changes. But there was some other stuff I missed. But then Bryant Pace, about a year later, Bryant Pace had an article in the Rainer magazine, and I read that, and we're at home in Canada practicing, and I went, that makes sense to me. And then I realized I didn't actually know. Well, how I really learned I didn't know how to change leads, I took the horse that Dean Latter had trained for me, that I had to ambush change leads. As a 4-year-old, I hauled him to Canada, and we had Todd Bergen and John Slack come up and do a clinic up there. And they were awesome. They really were. So at the end of the clinic, I said to Todd, would you please get on this horse and see if you can get it to change leads? Because I struggle. So Todd gets on the horse, and it's an embarrassing story to tell.
Changes.
And he
15
changes it
leads.
20 times, like glass. Comes back, literally gets off the horse, hands me the line, and says, "Fixed." That's all he says, "Fixed." And I'm going, shit, it's me. It's not the horse. So then I went to work and figured out how to change leads properly. And yeah, I still know how, but sometimes it takes two, like at the last futurity finals.
Well, I'm actually more amazed that somebody actually reads those articles in the Rainer. Like you actually read a Bryant Pace article and
sure
learned
did.
something?
Yeah. And it was so simple. It was finally something that everybody had me changing leads going across center or in a circle. He had me go up the pen on the correct lead, come out of the circle in the end, go up and change to the upcoming counter canter using the fence, 10 feet off the fence or so. And so the horse couldn't use direction, but you had a line where you could figure out as you're moving your horse around, and it just clicked to how to get the ass end to go underneath the front end. And it just worked for me. And then, but not everybody is as dumb and thick as I am from time to time.
I am.
No, I know.
Yeah, dumb.
I was thinking of these two.
Yeah. No, we're not.
No,
we're
the
not.
line, the line is here. It just goes that way.
But that worked, and then we moved on from there.
Yeah, going to Gunny's comment, everybody used to, we always used to, couldn't wait for the Rainer.
Yeah,
to show
neither
up.
could we.
Absolutely.
That was all of our insight into the entire industry. The Rainer and when I was a kid, the Quarter Horse Journal, when it was 2 inches, 3 inches thick and, full of, and you just study, I'd even study the show results back then. And I didn't know anybody, but I knew who was winning what, and it was fun to watch and see. And now I think with the internet, we're just,
Yeah, with the internet probably.
we're ahead of the game. We know all the articles and stuff.
I
before it
remember
gets
the
here.
very first time I ever read my name in the Rainer magazine, and it sure as hell wasn't on the cover or in an article, but they used to have all the show results, and I showed in Billings, Montana, in the rookie class, and I finished I think second or third, and it showed that result, my horse's name and my name, and I went, that was exciting.
No,
In
That was-
Billings, Montana.
Yeah, it was exciting, and I was there with Wayne Latimer, and we were riding, and he had like 7 women and me. But Wayne and I were closer to the same age.
Lucky guy.
Yeah, and I came out of the pen on some other run, not the one I did good on where I marked a 69, but the other one where I marked like a 42 or something, and bless Wayne's heart, his communication skills were passed on
To Dwayne.
to his sons, almost word for word, or really emotion for emotion is how you would say it. Because Wayne is standing at the end of the gate, and he's like this, just like that, and I doesn't say anything. So I said, "What does that mean?" His girls were kind of, very respectful of Wayne, and I said, "What does that mean?" And he goes, "We talked about this before." Being coached in hockey and football, I realized that you're going to tell somebody something 10 times before they really get it. And I said, "Oh, I'm sorry. If you think telling me once is going to work, that's way wrong. It's going to be way closer to 10. And he just turned around and walked away. That was how it worked. And so, yeah. But it was important to see it in the Reigning magazine.
Yeah.
It was when right up until we won the Open Futurity with Dwayne on the Great Whiz. That article on that horse was, we couldn't wait to get the Rainer to see that, so we could take that thing and frame it. It was really big. So yeah, it seems to have lost its importance that way. I guess.
Well, I
with
think
the
it's
internet,
just because you see
Facebook.
everything and we know everything
Yeah.
before there's so many people that every horse show, every result is on the Facebook.
And there's
on
live-
the Facebook. Man, that didn't sound good.
Yeah,
Sorry,
but
old
there's
guy.
there's
Facebook.
On the Facebook.
there's live feeds of the horse show now too, so
Yeah.
everybody across the country has easy access to
Yeah.
instant results.
Well, we couldn't wait till we got the tape of the Futurity finals.
Yeah, the Walton
And we'd go home
And watch it
take
back.
them and watch them all over and over and over again.
Yeah, you remember Waltonberry? He had a
Oh, yeah.
thing where they had the highlights from all kinds of shows. I can't remember what it was called, but
Raymond Video Monthly.
yeah,
Yep.
there you go.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and we had a subscription to it, and we watched them all. And it was so funny when my mother passed away.
I thought it was going to be you. It was funny when you saw me on there, but you
I don't
probably
remember
did.
seeing you on there, Gunny.
No, you didn't.
So
It didn't happen.
I think that was the other magazine.
Yeah.
But anyways, when my mother passed away, we knew that she was always wanting the tapes. When we were done watching the tapes, they went to my mother. Oh, VHS tapes, the big
Right.
black things. They all went to my mother. When she passed away, I had half a dozen people come up to me at her funeral who I didn't know. And they were older people, my mother's age. And they said, "Oh, you're Lance and you're Samantha. And we see you all the time." And they would list off our horses' names. And I said, how do you know this? And she said, "Oh, every time Hilda would get a tape," that was my mom, she'd have a dinner party and they'd all go and watch.
Oh, cool.
There'd be 8 or 10 old people sitting there watching our runs. And one old guy says, "Why is Samantha so much better a rider than you?" I remember the old guy. I don't think he knew anything, but he knew that.
Yeah, well,
I went,
he knew
"I don't
something.
think she is, sir," kind of a thing. But yeah, and I don't know if we'd have been as successful if it hadn't been for the rivalry between me and Samantha, because she was into that 10, 12. I don't even know. I don't really remember how old she was when we started, but when she started to get good, she was maybe 12, and then she wanted to kick her dad's ass, and that's what she wanted to do. And when in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, she finally did, and she is coming out of the pen. They call her score, and she just literally yells, "Yes, I finally beat my dad." And that was so important to her. And I'm standing there. Everybody's cheering for her when she said that. And I'm standing there going, "Hey, you guys, I'm standing right here." But it was great for her. And we went head to head all the time.
After helping both of you, like in my experience, I helped you and I helped her, and she listened and absorbed every word I said, and you just did your own thing. And she did quite well a handful of times. It was fun to help her because she could translate what you'd say right into the show pen, and you just flat ignore anything I said.
It's not true.
Good luck, Francesco.
Well, that's
Hey everybody, thanks for watching. We want to take a second to acknowledge SmartPack and Markel Insurance for letting us do this and bringing all this to you guys. Check them out. We've been with both of them for 15 years. Great companies, and we appreciate them.
that's quite funny.
So,
Sorry to interrupt.
so at what point did you? What point in the process did you buy? You had a very nice place in Marietta or Ardmore,
Yeah,
Overbrook.
kind of between there too. Yeah,
Overbrook, wherever it was.
Overbrook.
Exit 21.
Between exit 20. It's actually exit 24, but okay.
Exit 21 and 24. Same thing.
Okay.
In Oklahoma, it's the same thing.
Okay.
So
yes.
where in the process? When did you buy that place?
I bought it. Oh, I don't remember the numbers of the years, but I had. I was going down there every year with my motorhome, which was a Fleetwood in those days. Only Tom will recognize the crappy motorhome that is, and this land came up for sale, 240 acres, I think it was, at $750 an acre. And it seemed almost free.
Right.
So I said, well, and I went over there and I bought it. We were just talking on the drive
on
here
the way
about
there.
buying that piece of land on Page Road from the Pages, who got it from the original Indian Mississippi Choctaw lady that got it in the original land grants to the Indians. And they had it since 1907, I think it was. And you get a title in Oklahoma. It shows everything that's ever happened to land. It was fascinating to look at. And but I just bought it because I just thought it was so cheap. Why would I not buy it?
Right.
And then we had it for a little while, and then met a fellow by the name of Mark Stiers, who's gone now, but he was working for Bob, and he wanted to work for us and start up our own place. And we didn't really start out with the goal of ending up where we did, but just worked out that way. And then once we decided to do it, then I wanted to do it right, and we did. We built a nice place and built it ourselves, literally built it ourselves.
So
And,
the goal originally was not to breed and raise horses and
Not-
train them. It
not
was just
really.
to enjoy it.
yeah, it was to have a nice place to ride. And you know, Bob's place, Bob was getting his new ranch then. And I think, if I remember right, or shortly after that. And yeah, we just wanted a nice place to ride.
Was Dwayne the first
Yeah.
trainer that you had?
I think.
And where was that in where? So Dwayne worked for Bob, he worked for you, and he worked for Howard. What was the order of?
He worked.
It was Bob, Lance, Howard.
It was Bob, Lance, Howard, Lance, if I remember right.
Is that what it was?
I think so. My dementia's kicking in a little on this one, but yeah. And you know, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Dwayne did such a great job of. When I finally learned to realize what a broke horse feels like, is when I rode one that Dwayne hadn't trained.
Yeah.
Then I went, wait a minute, I don't like that. I don't like this. So and yeah, it worked out good for us. And but a lot of things change in this, as you know. And then Cody came down, I think.
Cody Superga.
Cody Superga came down from Canada. He came down with not that much in NRHA earnings and did a good job and left with a lot, like, I don't know, 800,000 or 900,000 that he won for us. And the mares and the babies just sort of, we got lucky in the sense that we were part of those years where embryos were starting to be used. You couldn't do them much before when we first started. And then frozen semen came along. And so we were raising out of, I don't know, 5 or 6 mares, 20 babies or 25 babies a year. And you kind of have to do that to have any chance of coming up with 5 or 6 really good show horses.
Yeah.
So that's what we did. And at the end of it all, when Samantha got so crippled up from it, and you know, we just had enough, we sold before the price of horses went crazy.
Yeah.
Why'd we do that?
I tried to tell
Well,
you.
you sold a little while.
A little
before
before
that.
that.
Yeah, it was-
I mean, it wasn't like 6 months
that,
before. It was
No, it was 4 or 5
several,
years.
yeah, several years before.
But-
and you had, going back to Dwayne, I think besides the fact that Dwayne is, in my opinion, one of the best horse trainers that have ever done this, he's one of the best horsemen that's ever done this. And to me, there's a huge difference between the two. And there's very few guys left that are both.
I could not agree with you more. I can tell you that when most trainers that I know say, I'm just going to check the barn before we go for dinner, that's a 10-minute wait. With Dwayne, it's an hour.
Yeah.
Because if he sees one whose wraps he doesn't like, and quite frankly, I don't know what the hell he was doing there. I'm waiting in the truck to go to dinner. And he's just how he was. And to ride one that he trained, Whiz and Tag Checks, the best horse I ever had. Howard Mann had showed up. I owned Whiz and Tag Checks, and he was in 2000. Well, we had won the futurity in 2003, and I think that Tag was a year behind that or 2 years behind that. And I only got that horse bought because Bob wanted to buy his new ranch. And not to be hard on Bob or anything, that's just what happened. Bob was great to me. I mean, I've thanked him a number of times for all the time I got to spend there. Never begrudged you riding there. Was always happy to see you. And I got to buy, lots of horses. But he didn't want to sell Tag to start with because he didn't want to sell them. But then we wanted to buy his new ranch. And Dwayne told me, buy this one. So he did. Then he was 11th or something like that in the fraternity. And he phones me in maybe February and says, listen, I'm not going to be able to show Tag because Howard, this fella who I had never met, Howard showed up and he's, the story, he's bought everything. And I need to show this other horse. And on the phone in Canada, I'm saying, well, that's a shame, but I'm really doing this.
Right.
Because I'm going, when you get to ride one that Dwayne trained for him to show, there's always a little bit of difference when trainers, and it's just the nature of the beast, when trainers show them for a non-pro to show, they don't put on as many high-level, tricks, whatever you want to call them. Buttons. And when Dwayne's trying for him to show, I'd learned that the year before with a horse called Pepe Ciccolina that he got into the finals, and then I took him on. But Tag, he was going to show as an open horse as a 4-year-old. And then I got to show him, and I won the NRBC the first year on him and the second year on him. And that's when Howard got involved. So it was, and then Howard took Dwayne up to Montana, and whatever that story ended up being, I don't know exactly, but it didn't work out. And so, yeah,
Howard, and Howard was, I think, Howard was a great guy in any of my dealings with Howard. He was very enthusiastic and loved the horse business. And the funniest story I ever heard about Howard, he came to me at the NRBC, and he always wanted to make sure he was buying the right horses from Bob. And he came to me at the NRBC, and he says, I outsmarted Bob this year.
Oh, man.
And I said,
Bought them all, probably.
You did, yeah. He said, I bought them all. I bought every one of his babies.
You couldn't buy any horses.
Oh, my gosh.
It was real hard on the, and in fairness, that had as much to do with me building my own place. Because we didn't get kicked out of Bob's because Bob didn't do that. But there was nothing left.
Right.
There was, we could have bought horses somewhere else, but then I bought my own place.
Howard was all in.
Oh, Howard was
all in.
And when we went to Montana, and I've been to Howard's place, first class hospitality, the shirt off. Problem is, he wouldn't just give you the shirt. He'd give you the shirt with a pocket full of money.
Yeah.
And that was a kind of he didn't need to be so much. He could have been more.
Very generous guy. Very generous guy. And like, I still talk to Howard every once in a while.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Has that stock ever come to fruition in any way?
No, not really.
That was the big dream of everybody.
Yep. Well, it was my dream, and
Yeah, it was a good idea. It just didn't work out.
Ended up being my reality. Thanks for bringing that back.
Yeah, no kidding.
But
no,
I mean,
We can get a pencil and write numbers down if you want.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it changed him for the better. I mean, Tom. He's half the dickhead he used to be.
Really?
Yes.
He was worse?
Oh, yeah. He's nice now.
Oh, I remember when I first met him. He goes,
He had
Tom,
long hair.
I'm Lance Griffin. Oh, he had long hair. And he literally goes like this.
we
were
had that
talking about last
discussion.
week.
I don't understand. That's
I know. I know.
To me, that is really a
Insult?
No, it's a show of the ultimate
Respect.
Hey, we're on the same page.
Sup.
If I just, just one of these. It's subtle, but yet it's, there's a
But
connection.
it's subtle,
It
yet
says-
rude.
It says, I know who you are already, but
Yeah, it is.
It
no.
literally reeks of, don't talk to me.
Don't have time for you. Thanks.
No, that's a
I think-
misinterpretation.
Man, they must have dropped you as a baby a lot.
That's a misinterpretation. I like pretty much everybody. You didn't, I didn't always like you, but
Your wife had a problem with me. Let's be clear. Do you remember when we were at the
everybody's wife
Congress?
had a problem with you.
No, we're at the Congress and we're there, and it's kind of a small world at the Congress. We're walking down, I don't know, Midway or whatever you call it there, and I'd spent a week there, I guess, or 5, whatever long we've been there. And Mandy literally hits me on the arm. She may not remember this because she's had a lot of celebrity moments in her life. But she goes, I got a problem with you. And I said, what? She goes, you stole my horse, which there was a horse deal that went on, and I ended up getting the horse, and she didn't. But I didn't know that. I didn't even know the horse was supposed to be hers. I didn't know anything about it. So I said, so she tells me the story, and I go, well, sorry. I said, what's your problem? She says, well, I'm starting to like you, and I don't want to. I said, oh, what's not to love about me, right? And after that, we got along pretty good. And then she kept winning all that stuff. All my prizes. All of them.
Yeah,
Constantly.
She knows how to change leads, though.
Yeah.
That's the key.
I had learned it by then, Joe.
Oh, okay.
I'd forgotten it several times, but I'd learned it.
Yeah. That's a good point, Joe. That's an excellent point. I didn't know where to go with that, and then that was great.
Well, I didn't know Joe was the brains of this outfit.
Yeah.
sometimes he fills in, sometimes he just sits there quietly.
Yeah, enjoying the stories.
When he's needed is when you can really count on him.
It was fun. It was great times back then. I got to say, I had a lot of fun. I'm not sure that everybody else did. Sometimes I had fun at other people's expenses, I guess. But Bob was great. Bob, if you ever rode with Bob Loomis, I mean, ride up on the track, flip his leg up over the horn, and you're there for half an hour hearing about old reining horse stories, which to us in those days were fascinating because I didn't know any of this history. And I didn't know Bob could raise the best son of a bitch you ever raised 4 or 5 times a year.
Yeah.
I didn't
Best
know that.
one he ever had.
Didn't know that. It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was
No, but
awesome.
but Bob, you know what? Bob to me is one of the guys that he probably helped more horse trainers than any other trainer in the business.
They all rode there.
As far as and not just working for him, but Bob would always be there. You know, I know he sent a lot of young guys horses at different times during their careers, and you know, I had a deal with Bob when I bought a bunch of breedings to Top Sail Wiz at one point in time, and you know, ran into some financial trouble, and I was just like, Bob, I mean, I know I'm supposed to pay you right now, but it's going to take me about 6 months. Tom, don't you worry about it. I mean, he was so good about all of that. I mean, he could have been. Yeah, I was worried about calling him. You know, you don't want to.
Of course.
You don't want to be in that position, and that was probably in 08-ish.
Well, for a guy who had, and this is according to Bob, had a grade 6 education from Lincoln, Nebraska, he was on the ball, and he could recognize a good horse, and he could sell. He could sell to people, and people wanted to meet Bob Loomis.
Yeah.
There were very few people that ever showed up at the ranch and said, "Oh, I'd really like to meet Lance Griffin." No, they wanted to meet Bob Loomis, and I don't blame them. And then after they met Bob, they felt like they knew Bob, and Bob
Right.
was their friend.
Right.
And however, the horse deals go from time to time, don't always go great. But it was few people I know that really ever strongly disliked Bob for very long.
No, I can tell you a story. Lucio Federini, I worked for Lucio in Italy, and this is so typical Bob. Lucio bought a couple of horses for Bob, got him home there to Italy, and you know, one of them, its tail got chewed off before he got it, which can happen. I mean, but Lucio wasn't happy about it, and another one just didn't work out. And he says, "I'm done. I bought horses there 3 years in a row. I'm never buying another horse from Bob Loomis." Well, guess what? The next year, I'm over there, and they get off the plane, and there's 3 or 4 BL brands, and he goes, "Well, I wasn't going to, but Bob needed the money." I laughed. And Bob was amazing at that. There was nobody better.
Seen him sell the same horse twice in one day.
Tell me about
Didn't
your
know it.
Flintstone Wiz story.
Oh, well, that was to teach Dwayne Latimer a lesson.
Oh, okay.
Turned out teaching me a lesson.
Tell that story. I love that story.
Well, I don't even remember, but
I can tell it.
I'd like to hear Tom
Flintstone
tell it.
Wiz was one of the best stopping horses you will ever see. End of story. Couldn't do much else. Ran, bad mover.
Okay,
Couldn't
now
turn
I
it
want
all.
to tell my side of the story.
Okay.
So
Dwayne said not to buy him, but I outfoxed Bob.
So he and Bob are. I don't know if they're walking down to the track or where they're walking, but they're together somewhere on the ranch. And Lance says, "Hey, I want to buy that horse. What do you want for him?" And Bob priced him. I don't know what was high at that point in time, but $75,000, whatever the number is, doesn't matter. And Lance just reared back and offered him half of that. And Bob says, "Well, by God, Lance, I think today I'll take that."
Yeah.
And then Lance owned him. And I laughed at that story.
Well, turned out I showed the horse for quite a while, and then actually the horse won a NRHA world title after I got rid of him, of course.
I remember the horse's name.
Yeah.
So,
No, it was a great name.
Yeah.
Good stopper.
Well, you must have won some stuff because I would have read his name in the Ringer magazine.
I think those other people, right? I don't think it was me. But yeah, I won some stuff on him, and he could go mark 73 because he could stop +1 3 times and kind of zero everything else.
And the reason that story was funny to
Oh,
me
yeah, I
is
outsmarted Bob.
because Lance told me, I really outsmarted him. Here's what it was
You
just
one-upped him.
Oh yeah, no. There's I did watch him sell Howard Mann 3 horses just because I happened to be standing there, and it transpired in 30 seconds. I didn't have time to politely leave before Howard could say, I'll take him. Like it was like really unbelievable how fast that all went. He bought like 100 horses or something like that.
Yeah. No, Howard was he was a
Yeah,
big player.
He was enthusiastic.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what else you guys want to know, but that's when I got also involved on the board of the NRHA and started up being the president of the international committee for, I think, 5 or 6 years. And that's when the national affiliate programs were all coming in, and Europe was torn apart. Funny, they're just tearing it apart today, aren't they?
Yeah, Russia's tearing it
Yeah.
apart.
But they couldn't. There was 4 or 5 countries there that couldn't pick their national affiliates because they had 2 or 3 different groups. If you went to Italy, there was the Italian. I don't remember the names of them anymore, but the Serene Association and in England they had 2. They were fighting like crazy, and I had to go over there and settle those disputes. And what do I know about arguing with Europeans? But I just went over there and laid down a little common sense, whatever, and got it all solved. And the Germans were probably the worst because they just wanted it their own way, regardless of everything else. But
That's pretty understandable.
yeah, and it was a good education. But I got to know a lot of people over there. We sold horses over there because of that a little bit, and it was a good experience. Then we went to Russia to
Yeah, I remember
part of that delegation with that was awesome. I mean, we didn't work in that we were trying to get reining into the Olympics, and I'm not taking much credit for. I just happened to be one of the guys that went along because I was chairman of the international committee. But we went there and had an absolute gas. We got invited. Now you got to understand, we're in Moscow in July, where it's daylight 22 hours a day, and we get invited to the July 4th United States Ambassadors Residence Party, which we knew nothing about. But the guys that were hosting us got us these tickets. And it was one of the highlights of not just the trip, but of everything that we did. When we went to the ambassador's home is the White House. I mean, it's almost an exact replica of the White House. I'm sure that was a snub at the Russians in some way. But the guy, Paul was his name, I don't remember his last name, but he took us out on his front lawn, and there was 3,500 people at this thing. We had to go through 2 sets of metal detectors to get in, and it was the hottest event of the year, according to the guys who were giving us the tickets. So we go there, and we each have but we had interpreters, but we had an argument. So the executive director of the NRHA in those days, Dan Wall, said, "This is very fancy, guys, and we should not wear our cowboy hats." Well, Del Hendricks, me, Mark Wagman, and Joe Carter, I think, all said, "To hell with that. I'm wearing my hat." Well, we would put suits on, but I'm wearing my hat. They didn't come here to see a bunch of guys in suits. They came to see guys in cowboy hats.
Right.
So we go like that, and a lot of guys didn't wear cowboy hats. So the 4 of us get followed around by photographers. We're there for probably 3 hours, and there's probably 200 photographers there. And anyways, I'm meeting all these ambassadors, and people have no concept of remembering who they are. I met 50 of them. But the standout was in the backyard of that place. I mean, it was fantastically beautiful. And my interpreter says to me, his eminence, blah, 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 would like to meet a cowboy, and it's their Russian Orthodox Pope. Okay, so I don't know who he is, but anyways. She says, this is the Pope, and he doesn't make a lot of public appearances, but he comes to this one. And I turn around, and I mean, there's this little Shriner guy with that really cool hat on, and robes, and behind him are like 15 guys, all dressed in black. I mean, so anyways, we go over and we shake hands, and he's an old guy, and we're talking through an interpreter, so it takes a bit of work. And he is telling me that he rode horses as a kid, and da-da-da, So we talk for 10 minutes, and we turn around, because I've been facing him the whole time. So when I turn around for pictures, there's now every photographer on the place there to take our pictures. I bet we had 1,000 pictures taken of that. So when we're done, it occurs to my pea brain that we should switch hats for a picture. That's just what I think that he would like to do. So I said to my interpreter, can you ask him if we can switch hats for a picture? And she looked at me like I was crazy, and she wouldn't even ask him. I said, he's got to want to take this picture with a cowboy hat on. But it didn't happen. But I really wish it had.
Yeah.
That would have been awesome.
And
Anyways,
speaking of the international,
and we were on the front page of the Russian Moscow, whatever the newspaper was the next day.
Yeah, you still have that picture?
No, we never got it. We just got a picture of that picture.
That would have been cool to have that paper
Yeah.
with you on there.
And
I got the paper from when I was in the New York Times.
why were you in the New York Times?
Well, we were in New York one time, and an animal got out, and they interviewed me about it. I told them exactly what was going to happen.
Was it on Times Square?
Yeah. I was there on your in your
In
timeshare.
my timeshare?
Yeah,
Huh.
with Samantha.
What animal?
Oh, that's right.
A peacock got out. A peacock got out. I think a peacock, it could fly. It was like a non-flying bird, but this bird flew away. And a New York Times reporter asked me, said, "What do you think about the peacock getting out of the zoo today?" I'm like,
Oh.
I have a feeling he'll be back when he gets hungry. Don't you worry. And sure as shit, that peacock came back.
Wow.
Like Justin Matheson, horse trainer from Tioga, Texas, predicted that the peacock would come back.
And that was in the paper?
All wrote in the New York Times.
Wow. Well, that's better than my story.
No, it's not.
No,
it's really not. No, I just like interrupting with my stupid facts every now and then. Okay.
Yeah.
We have some really interesting people on the
So-
show, and I ruin it for a lot of people.
So from a reining point of view, the one story that's notable of that trip, when we do our reining demonstration to the Equestrian Federation,
It was a disaster, wasn't it?
No, it was great. They hauled some horses up from Austria, 1,500 miles of gravel. Anyways, Del Hendricks is riding, and I'm sitting beside a fellow who I don't know him, but he's their legendary dressage rider. He is Madonna in Russia, right? So he's not really happy to be there, I don't think. You could tell he's like, what am I watching here? What kind of crap is this I'm watching? He's a dressage guy. But Dell goes around the end and changes leads. This horse was really broke and changed lead he on slack line. And it took a minute for the translation to take place, but he asked me if that was a mistake. Did the horse change leads on his own because Dell had him draped? And I said, no. And he said, no, that can't be right. So I said, hold on. And I stopped Dell. I said, Dell, can you run down a straight line and change 4 or 5 leads on that horse, you think? Oh, yeah. So Dell runs down the pen, changes leads, and I said, and drape the crap out of him. And that guy said, that is unbelievable. They're number one riding, whoever he is, I don't know his name. He goes, that's unbelievable. Because to do that with no contact seemed not possible to him.
Wow.
So from a reining point of view, that was really cool. Now the whole trip didn't work out. We didn't get into the Olympics, but Mark Wagman got to drink a lot of vodka.
Which the reality of going to the talking about the Olympics, the reality is that was probably never going to happen.
No,
anyway.
we didn't have enough money.
And the WEG was, I think, such a boost for all of us. And you were actually
Absolutely.
on the Canadian team.
Yeah, 2006 was it?
Yeah, silver medalist.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah, but they won the individual gold, right?
Dwayne
You gotta
Latimer.
slap him back when he slaps you.
We lost the.
No, the silver medalist. That's good.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's good. Oh,
But,
yeah, that's good.
but I'm going
We
to tell
were-
you this story because he remembers this very clearly. Dwayne was the last horse to go in the team competition, and because they you have your number one rider go and your number two rider go, and so Dwayne, for some reason, we made Dwayne the captain and last rider. And I know, scary, but he had a very good horse. So I am standing in the stands now watching, and we have to mark, what was it, 228.5 to win the gold. And
Maybe.
And I am standing right behind. There's Tom McCutcheon and Tim McQuay right there. And they are, and I will quote to you, shaking like a dog shitting razor blades because they think they have a chance of not winning the gold.
I've seen them do that.
Yeah. And Dwayne marks
Playing ping pong.
half a point light. And we lose the medal by half a point. Which we won a silver, which was way out. We never thought we'd do that. So it was really a great experience there too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You were at a couple of them though.
I was at all of them.
Oh, of course he was.
That's why he brings it up.
Yeah.
Don't think he ever misses an opportunity to pat himself on the back. Okay.
I didn't know that till now, but right now it was. I really enjoyed that. That was great. And so I know I've told you this story, but in fairness to my teammates, Luc Gagnon, Francois Gauthier, Dwayne Latimer, and myself have to go and do a press conference at a table just like this. But to how many reporters? 100, 200?
Yeah.
I mean, the room was big and it was jam-packed. And I have Luc Gagnon, who, bless his heart, is a little shy. So when they ask him, he goes, "It was great." That's what he does.
My horse is good.
No, that's Dwayne. So then they ask Francois, and he goes, and that nobody can understand it.
Dude, if you ever talk to him, he nailed it.
Oh, yeah.
It's like he's
Bob
speaking
Loomis.
Chinese,
So-
French, and English at
Yeah.
the same time.
Nobody can understand his English or French. So they moved on from him, and they get to Dwayne. And gold medalists and all the stuff. And Dwayne goes, "My horse was good and my teammates were good." So that took all of 45 seconds to get to me. So then, of course, I talked too much, and I talked for 10 minutes, and we're walking out of there, and Dwayne says something like, "Thank Christ for you." They were, poor Luke, I thought Luke was going to run. Luke did not want to be there at all. But he said to me at the Southwest when we were riding around this year, just 6 months ago, he says, "Do you remember when we were in Germany?" I said, "Yes, I can still remember that." He goes, "That's one of the greatest things I ever did in my life." And I thought, well, you never said anything. Because he didn't. Even riding with him, I mean, he never said anything.
Well, what he meant was if he had the chance to do it again, he would say more this time.
Oh, no, he wouldn't.
Nah.
But the funniest thing on that trip, we trained in Belgium for a week with the French team. And the French team wouldn't ride with us. I think I don't know why.
They were scared.
They were intimidated or whatever. We said, "You can come ride with us." Nope. You want to ride for it? They wanted to
What
read
year
about
was that?
2006.
I'm gonna talk to Eric.
Eric was on that team.
Oh, Eric, why were you bailing?
El Gros Poulet.
Yeah, why were you being shy?
Well, Eric,
Oh, I thought I silenced that.
wasn't there a rule?
I thought I silenced
Is that a fine?
It's a fine, dude. I gotta pay for
$100. So,
$100 a man it is.
anyways, we were at Sarah Beck's place, and her mother, it was awesome. She would say to us every day, because we'd ride, we were done by like 11 o'clock in the morning. She'd go, would you like some lunch? No, please don't. Maybe just a little? Okay. And she'd open the door and there would be this buffet of food. But after we had about a couple of Bacardis in those days with Dwayne, one day he says, "Hey, let's go watch the French team ride and just mess them up." So we did.
Dude,
But-
he was on Bacardi those days. He's on Peach Crown now.
No, Dwayne was on Bacardi.
Yeah.
This is apple juice.
Yeah. Dwayne's not on anything anymore.
Oh, bless his heart. Good for him. But that was another great experience we had.
But those horse shows, that format to me was so much fun because you were the team and I loved it because you just had to take one horse.
Just one horse and
A lot of free time.
you got all day to
Not
ride
much
them.
work.
No.
I kind of liked it.
And they were broke.
And they
It's
were
not
broke.
like it's not like you were training them.
Yeah, it was an old horse. So it was- And I mean, I think at some point it would be great if we could rekindle some
Something
kind
like
of an
that.
international competition where
Yeah.
we got everybody involved.
That
'cause-
was the only problem was it was such a small portion of the industry that got to enjoy that.
yeah, for
but
sure.
but it was with the internet today. It would be very exciting for everybody to see be at home
you
watching
say
that.
you say that, but I never participated in one, and neither did Joe. But we watched them all. I mean, when Cade showed that the last year they had it,
Yeah, that was
we were in Vegas screaming at the computer. We were screaming at a computer, just like I was screaming at the TV when
Here's what
Edmonton was losing. Dwayne, sorry.
Just last night,
Yeah.
bless their heart. Anyway, yeah, it was. Do you remember how loud the stands were?
Oh yeah.
Well, what blew me away the first day we get there, did you know those people, when we were practicing, paid for their seats to watch us practice?
No.
I did not know that. And then I said to somebody, I don't remember who I said to, I said, you know, why are they sit in the same spot every day? She says, well, they paid for those seats. So they couldn't get seats to watch the Rainin, but they could get seats to watch the practice. So they did. And then signing autographs. Do you know what I did to Tim was so low? Maybe the lowest maneuver ever. Sorry, Tim.
I don't think you need to apologize to Tim at all.
We're at the award ceremony when it was downtown. If you remember how we went downtown and present, it's a presentation to Aachen
Yep.
of the medalists. And I had a guy come up to me, and he said, "Can I have your hat?" I'm wearing my show hat, and I said, "No." "Oh, they tell us that you give out hats." I said, "Yeah, we give out ball caps." I said, "But I'll tell you what, I can't give you mine. But that fellow there, the short one, on the American team, he loves giving away his hats. His name is Tim McQuay." He just walked right over to Tim and tried to talk Tim out of his hat.
We gave away, the U.S. team gave away about 500 hats.
Oh, we had two
no,
big duffel
cowboy
bags.
hats.
Oh,
Cowboy hats,
oh,
yeah,
maybe
not-
that's what I was talking about.
Yeah, we weighed.
They planned ahead the U.S.
Yeah.
team.
Oh, you had the
Canada
white.
was just kind of a
Canada was they were like a
kind
third
of a
world
shit show,
country.
you know,
Yeah.
you just showed up like a bunch of.
Wow.
with no
Racist.
freedom.
Who was
No,
Thank
who
you.
was the chef de coupe of the Canadian
My
team?
wife.
Well, she didn't have her shit together because U.S.
Oh.
gave some hats away.
You gave away one. They were from the dollar store, I swear, those hats.
They were.
Yeah. You shouldn't have been giving
Russians
those
didn't
away.
know they had enough vodka.
Well, it wasn't in Russia.
It was Germany.
They weren't great hats.
No.
No, they weren't. They weren't top of the line.
But the Germans were wearing them. I do remember that now.
Well, tomorrow there's going to be some Germans throwing their cowboy hats away.
This is crap.
Yeah.
I thought this is good hat.
This is not shorties.
Well-
I throw this away.
Guys, those are Russian accents, not German.
Yeah. Yeah, well, wait a couple days. Russia might be in Germany too.
Yeah, Germany might be part of Russia. Yeah, but those were great. Those were great. And so, and winning the open fraternity that was gut wrenching. Because we won, and I say we, Dwayne and the Great Wiz. So to start with, I bought that mare at a sale. I just walked into the fraternity prospect sale, and they got a great pine mare in the pen. I've never looked at her. She's in fold the bogey flashy jack. I put it in my hand once, sold. Okay, so I buy this great pine mare. I go back, half an hour later, go back to the stall to see what I bought. And even Samantha's going, "Dad, you got to stay away from these auctions, right?" But there's an old guy in the stall with his arms around this horse. I don't even know if it's the right horse, but it's the right stall. And I said, "Hello." And he goes, and he's crying. I mean, he's crying. And I said, "Hi, are you the fellow that bought this mare?" I said, "Shirley." He says, "You the fellow that bought Shirley?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "If I just give you $1,000, can you just forget you bought her?" I went, "No." I said, "Are you the owner?" "Yes, but Shirley and I showed her old career, a total of $73. That's how much she'd won. But he showed her
She was
her
good.
whole career." Anyways, Mark Steyer's the guy that worked for me, did all my ranch work, and he comes, North Carolina boy, he comes around the corner, and there he is, and he looks in the stall, and he goes, "Herman, what are you doing?" And that's the guy who owned this mare. And they were buddies from North Carolina. Herman, which is why we named the Great Wiz Herman. And he says, "Oh, it's you, Mark." And they're talking, and he says, "Well, can I come visit her?" I said, "You can come, Herman, you can come anytime you want." Well, I didn't know that meant 2 weeks at a time, twice a year, but he did. 4 years he came and rode, and he was part of the family after a while. But
That's pretty cool, though.
yeah, so he
that's
loved
cool.
it. And she was crazy. I mean, she was, as a mare, she
He
was
didn't
kind of
know
crazy.
that, though.
No, he loved her. He rode her one time. I wasn't riding her, but anyways, so she had that baby, and then I bred her to the Great Whiz, and
Top set whiz.
or bred her to Topsail Whiz, and she had the Great Whiz, and I took that horse to Dwayne when it was maybe April of his 2-year-old year, and it was a weird horse because it would literally lope, with nobody on it. It would lope, and its nose would touch the ground. It was like it would run along, smelling the ground. It was strange. But anyways, he trained it, and we showed it up. And so he wins the first go because he was the kind of horse you didn't want to show lightly. He took everything very serious.
He marked a 25 or 26.
Yeah, I was
on
up
the
there.
first go.
We won the first go round, and I was standing up where they give
In
out
the canteen.
The canteen in this spot, just happened to be there, and I watched. So, not being a superstitious hockey player, I go back to the same spot with the same shoes, kind of maybe the same shirt, and I watch the second go, and we win the second go. So for the finals, I'm going to be wearing the same shoes and shirt, standing in that same spot. But when I get there,
In the canteen.
George Bell is standing there. And I don't really know who George Bell is in those days. But I said to him politely, and we were draw 33 of 34 or 31 of 32. We're second from the end anyways. And I said to him, sir, if you don't mind, this is my horse coming in, and I need to stand right there to watch him. Why? Why? And I said, because that's just for luck. That's bullshit. Whatever, George. I don't do a good George impression. But anyways, so I don't know if George, and I'm sorry that I did this. I don't know if you remember, but I just sort of pushed him aside, and he says, "Oh, sure, we'll have the spot then." I mean, I knocked him out of the way. And later, Brian, his son, tells me, "Oh, you're lucky you didn't stick a knife in you."
Yeah,
Because I did.
throw you off the canteen.
I didn't
balcony
know.
There.
So now the horse is walking to center for, in those days, those pattern 5, and the place is like so loud. I am mentally telling everybody to shut up, don't scare my horse. But anyways, it went so well. But as that run went on, it was maneuver by maneuver, I think, getting closer to a heart attack. It meant so much, and I had no idea that it meant that much to win the Open Futurity. I'd never done it, and when it was done, there was one horse left. And George is like, "Hey, good for you, blah, 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 blah." And he says, "Can I have my spot back?" I said, "No, there's one horse left." Well, that son of a bitch isn't going to win it, So, because we marked a
231.
231, I think. Yeah. And anyways, this sort of comes in, marks like a 13, but I watched it to its last maneuver and the score announcing. And then what was the god's name? Keith Bradley?
Keith Bradley.
Yeah.
He was the announcer. All the things that were really great in those days they fell into place because the whole crowd hushed up, and you're standing there. I mean, you're sweating bullets, waiting for that score. Did I miss something? You don't know. And the score, and the place goes crazy, and you lose your mind. And yeah, that was exciting, I got to say.
Yeah, that was. And was that? Didn't he go on and he showed that horse in Kentucky, right, at the Wig?
No.
Which horse did he show at the Wig?
I showed Jake, Big Jake, big.
Dun playing tag.
Dun
playing,
horse. Yeah,
Dun
yeah,
playing
yeah.
tag. He was third on Dun playing tag
Yep.
in Way. Yeah.
Can I tell you about the Great Whiz story that you probably never heard about?
Sure.
I'd love to tell you.
Is it ignorant?
What year? Yeah, a little bit. What year did he win the Futurity? 03?
2003. Yeah.
So 3. I started working for Tom in 2002. It was the end of 2001, beginning of 2002. Well, in 2003, Dwayne brings his 3-year-olds down before the Southwest Futurity. And he is riding them at Cardinal now. It was Green Valley then. You might not remember this, but I remember it like it was yesterday. And he had the Great Whiz there, and he was running and stopping him. And this is 2-3 weeks before the Southwest Futurity. And he's running and fencing him, and he runs down and says, "Well, when that thing keeps going," and he runs back and he says, "Well, when he keeps going," and he yells back at Corky. He goes, "Corky, go get my upside down bridle." I don't know what he said, but I think I do. But well, and then Corky went and handled it, and he fixed him. But I don't know if you remember what you said, but you said Dwayne's in trouble this year.
Did you really?
Yes.
I have no idea. I have no recollection.
Yes.
Tom, I got you.
Dwayne knew, or Tom knew that Dwayne was in trouble that year because.
Well, his other horse I remember was Buckaroo Whiz.
No, his other horse was Hang Ten Surprise, right?
No,
No,
not
it
that
was
year.
later.
Oh.
He had a full brother to a horse called Monarch Whiz, which was a pretty good horse, and it was called Buckaroo something, and both of them were not great. But then he had Herman,
Yeah.
and he drew up. So when I make the draw, I used to draw those rubber balls with the number on them.
Yeah.
I reach in because we'd won we got to draw first.
You had the high composite.
Yeah, and I reach in, and I pull at the number, and here I see 3. I went, oh, crap. I don't even look at it. I just see 3. And I hand it to the girl, and I'm walking back. She goes, 31. I didn't. The 1 was underneath my hand. So,
Do you
And after
remember? Do you remember when he came to Cardinal and was riding him, and he kept going, running, and stopping?
No.
I remember,
I
like, it
barely
was-
remember you working there.
yeah. I got a paycheck for 5 years, but he's right. I did work for about a year and a half. Okay.
Work. But he wasn't good at Ardmore, right? Because didn't you guys
No.
geld him right after Ardmore?
oh, no.
Before or after?
No, I yelled at him. I hauled him to the NRBC, and that's a funny story. I hauled him to the NRBC in the back stall of my trailer, and he rearranged my trailer all the way to Houston. I mean, I got there and I went, Jesus, Dwayne, we got to geld this horse. We don't know we're winning the futurity with him at that time.
You weren't.
Yeah, okay.
You weren't. He was running through stops then, too.
Yeah.
For sure.
And so he says, in those days, nobody cut anything talented. He said, he's too talented to cut. And I remember saying to him clearly, even if he wins the futurity, I don't want a field full of them son of bitches running around. And so we don't cut him. And I said to him, I said, if you see the need to cut him, I'm on board here because I cut everything for the most part.
I thought he cut him around Ardmore.
No.
That's what I thought.
I thought I remember.
We cut him before the Derby because
Oh, really?
it was just before the Derby. Because if you cut him at Ardmore, you wouldn't gain nothing by it, really,
No.
by futurity time. So we cut him. He phones me and says it's time to cut him. I think because he bit one boy and kicked another one that day or something. Because he was kind of a nasty stud to have around. Anyways, so we cut him. And then I remember Dwayne saying, I said, now watch, we'll win the futurity on a gelding. And he goes, well, that'll be a nice problem.
Yeah, right.
Or I said it, vice versa, or something like that. Anyways. And so he was second at the NRBC on him the next spring. And then at the Derby, he was close to winning the go-round, but his shoulder went the next spring. And he was never sound again on that shoulder. But Terry showed him, because he's a gelding. So we took him to Canada, and he was a big deal in Canada for a while. And he's up there, and we were going to a horse show, but Terry would exercise him. And he'd be just as sweet as pie for Terry. And I don't know why. And so I said, well, bring him along. Let's show him in Cardston. So we took the Great Whiz to the Cardston slide-in. And it was the first futurity champion they ever had there. And everybody's taking his picture. And Terry's on him all the time. And she shows him in the rookie or the whatever. But she could show him. And he would never be good for anybody that asked him to be. He was not sound enough to go hard enough.
Right.
But then he lived to be 15, and he stood his life in the year with the yearling stud colts and knocked those guys around for a dozen years, and then broke a leg, probably kicking. I don't know he broke his leg, but he was standing in the pasture one day with his leg broke. So he's buried in Edmond at my daughter's place.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a special horse to you guys for sure.
Well, yeah, and the mother was great. I mean, I sold her 3 times, kept coming back. And she was a good horse that way. And we had, so I don't know what other stories you want.
Well, I think we're about out of
We
time.
covered it.
Yeah, that was good, man.
Yeah,
We
went a
could
long
keep
way.
going, but I gotta pee.
I didn't even get to tell you my gunny stories.
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it in the next time.
Oh, there's no more stories.
We'll
Gunnies.
do it the next time. But I can tell you, Lance, I'm for one, I always enjoy your company, and I'm glad you're back showing horses again.
Well, I don't know how long that can last. I'm physically a bit of a.
With the good horses you got now, you know.
No, I mean,
Well, it's only because I'm a Brown Brothers. Got to go to the Brown Brothers to get good horses.
Well, they're Canadian.
That's right. Keep
Yeah.
it in the family.
well, yeah,
We'll
right.
see.
So anyway, well,
Well, thanks for inviting me.
yeah,
Yeah,
thanks
thanks
for
for
coming
coming.
down, and everybody, thanks
It was
for
fun.
watching.
Thanks for taco time.
No, we're not supposed to
you-
advertise
yeah,
it. It's
you can't
YouTube.
do
Advertise. Way to go,
Oh.
Lance.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, where is Fuzzy's Taco Shop?
Hey, you met Chelsea Schneider Pasta Night.
At fuzzystacoshop.com.
We
All right, thanks everybody for watching. On to the next one. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. We want to take a second to acknowledge SmartPack and Markel Insurance for letting us do this and bringing all this to you guys. Check them out. We've been with both of them for 15 years. Great companies, and we appreciate them.